Hi everyone. Um, I'm gonna have a little bit of difficulty talking about this because it's a hard thing to talk about. So I suffer from bipolar disorder. I've been diagnosed for a few years now. I've been on and off a few different medications. Prior to the age of 19, I was on a few different antidepressants, and the longest one I was on was lithium carbonate, which is supposedly stabilizes your mood. Um, I self-medicate with marijuana, and it's illegal where I live, um, for both medicinal and recreational uses. I find that when I first started using it, I was probably using it recreationally. I just had that curiosity. I just wanted to see what all the fuss was about. I wanted to see how it affected me. And I found that when I used it, all of a sudden I had so much more control over my mood. Whereas previously, yeah, I was very up and down, all over the place mentally. Found myself feeling pretty suicidal a lot of the times. I used to I used to cut myself and do all of those sorts of things. So when I found that marijuana helped me to keep a stable mood, and it's really exhausting. Anybody out there with bipolar disorder that's watching this, it's really exhausting going through so many different mental states and attitudes and ideas and mood swings is the easiest way to describe it, but it doesn't. I don't feel that really explains what happen bipolar symptoms in a nutshell. So anyway, I've been trying to stop using cannabis, and I've found that it's very difficult. Um, and I've got to accept to myself that I am pretty well addicted to this substance. But just recently, I've been doing a lot of research into how cannabis can affect people with bipolar disorder, and there's a lot of mixed views on it. A lot of people with bipolar disorder do find cannabis be pretty helpful in stabilizing their mood. Some people don't. That's the that's the thing about it, you know. It affects everybody in a very different way. So it may not help you. My personal experience is that it helps me. Um, anyway, when I smoke it, I don't really get I don't really get high off it. You know, I don't really I don't really have that loss of inhibitions or intoxication. That doesn't really happen to me. What happens is I start to feel a little bit more comfortable and normal, and a lot of my anxiety goes away, and my rapid cycling moods, they don't cycle as rapidly. Um, so there's a few problems with cannabis. obviously, there's pros and cons to using it. Firstly, if you're gonna use it every day or on a regular basis, you need to make sure that you're setting a limit for yourself. If you understand what I mean, find the amount that that you can use to help stabilize your mood, and don't use any more than that, because I know a lot of people say that, oh man, marijuana is not addictive, but it is. I can tell you that marijuana is addictive because I'm living with marijuana addiction, and there are withdrawal symptoms when you stop using it. Insomnia, loss of appetite, just to name a few. There's plenty of withdrawal symptoms. Irritability is a big one for me with my bipolar disorder, obviously. And I think I've come to sit in this idea of it, like, maybe the reason I get so irritable when I don't smoke is like, you might notice the same effect if you took away somebody's prescribed antidepressants. Do you know what I mean? Like, somebody who's using antidepressants to stay happy, and then one day they just stop taking them, and you're going to find that they're very irritable. They may be worse than what they were before they started using it. I am 1 week off the drug, and I found that it's not doing me any good to not use it. I guess it's a little early to say, but something you've got to understand is that when cannabis is illegal and it's criminals growing it, I mean, these people they don't care about you, and they don't want to see you get better. They're interested in turning over a profit, and the way that they will try to turn over as much of profit as possible is to pump chemicals and what have you into this plant to try to make it more potent, have a higher THC content. And it's a bad thing for people that want to use it medicinally. If it were regulated, if it were grown under government conditions, if it were treated as a pharmaceutical thing, and if it were grown using quality control, which is something that I think is very important, there would probably be less negative side effects to people using it to treat psychosis. That's my personal belief anyway. But anyway, what I want to talk about is anyway, I wanted to talk about the last week of abstaining from cannabis use. So, I haven't been able to sleep, I haven't been able to eat. I found myself, I haven't actually had anything to eat at all today. I found at one point I ate like half a bowl of soup and felt 75 kilos. Um, at the moment, from 85. The last time I weighed myself was, I think it was probably about a month ago anyway. This last week has been really tough. Sort of accepting that I have problem with drugs, and the thing is, I don't really know if I do. Like, cannabis helps with my bipolar symptoms. That's something that in my own personal experience I found. The problem is, I don't know if it really is a long-term solution. I think realistically it's only really a short-term solution. But it does help. It does make you feel better. It helps you feel more stable if you're somebody that suffers from bipolar disorder. Not everybody is gonna find that it helps them, but some people will. I was one of those people. So I guess in the last week, what I found is not using cannabis has made my bipolar symptoms worse, and it's made me more irritable. It's made me unable to sleep and eat, and I guess I'm just sort of confused as to whether that's just regular drug withdrawals that people go through when they quit using cannabis, or whether that's because cannabis actually has a positive impact on my bipolar disorder. I don't really know for sure. So I've read some studies about the therapeutic potential of cannabis amongst people with bipolar disorder. None of them are really conclusive, but anyway, I did read this one study that said that people with bipolar disorder that had been using cannabis actually showed that they performed better neurologically and cognitively compared to those that hadn't been using cannabis. That's something that I'm finding for myself in my own personal experience. When I used cannabis in moderation, I felt it helped me clear my mind a lot. Took away the anxiety and the rapid cycling mood swings, made me more stable. I also slept better. At first, I got the sort of, I got the munchies and pigged out, but once I got used to the effects of cannabis, the munchies weren't a real big problem for me anymore, and I found I was actually able to sustain a pretty healthy diet by eating a lot of fruit and vegetables and cutting down on meat, and also I don't drink alcohol. It's a bit of a lie. Occasionally I drink alcohol, very occasionally. I don't really enjoy alcohol, and I guess it's one of the things that sort of led me to try cannabis. Because I found when I drank alcohol, my bipolar symptoms got worse, or I always ended up feeling really much more depressed afterwards. And with cannabis, it's the opposite, you know. But I guess by using a lot of cannabis, you're putting yourself at risk of all the health effects that it does have. So I've been using a vaporizer instead of smoking it. You get the same effects. You just don't inhale the smoke, you inhale vapor instead, which is healthier for your lungs. As I said, I'm having a hard time talking about this, and this is actually like the fourth video. I'm going to mesh them all together somehow using software, but anyway, I don't really know what else to say, guys. Do a bit of research for yourself. If you are somebody that's like me that has bipolar disorder, and you find that cannabis helps to make your bipolar disorder more manageable, maybe keep using it. Maybe it helps you. If you're just smoking weed to get high, stop doing it, because it does get addictive, and it's not really a good way to live, you know. But if you find that you can find this sort of happy medium between being super high or intoxicated, or this happy medium between the intoxicating effects and the mood stabilizing effects, then I don't really see the problem in using it. I guess the only thing is I'm quite young, and I really have no idea how it's going to affect me in the long run. If it's going to maybe it'll make my bipolar symptoms worse in the long run. I don't really know. That's the problem, and I really, really wish that more governments would get behind studying this drug and its therapeutic values for people like me. I guess it's worked in the United States, in some states in the United States, it's worked for people. In some places of the world, like the Netherlands, we see a very relaxed attitude towards it, and you know, you can go into cafes and buy it, take it home and smoke it, or smoke it in the cafe, or whatever you like to do. You're just not allowed to use it on the streets, and I think that should be the way it is all across the world. Unfortunately, it's not. Anyway, I guess to sum up this video, some people with bipolar disorder find that cannabis helps them, and some people don't. There's quite a lot of studies that actually suggest that cannabis use puts you at a higher risk of bipolar disorder. It induces bipolar disorder as well as other psychosis. And that's a concern for me, obviously. But I've been using it for 8 years now, and I've seen more positives than negatives personally. Because what do you think's more worse for my health? Not being able to sleep and eat, or smoking a little bit of weed here and there? Anyway, I'm just going to put that out to you. I'm going to sum this up now, and this will probably be the first in a few videos of me documenting how stopping the use of cannabis is affecting my bipolar disorder. So I hope you guys keep watching. Thanks.